to 321 Connection. We are here with Larry Jacobs and Gordon Levine talking about a film called Little Shop of Horrors. So welcome.
Thank you, Luke. It's very good to be here. Thanks for welcoming us.
So how did you come up with this idea?
Well, we both volunteer for an organization called the Bay City Players over in Bay City, and we do different kinds of shows. We usually try to do like 5 shows a year, and 2 of those shows are usually musicals. And this one, Little Shop of Horrors, is a musical. And it started with Gordy. Gordy was named the director for the show.
Wow.
And then he twisted my arm and asked me to help him. And so we're working together on it and having a great time.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, was this your favorite one that you loved?
What do you think? Is that your favorite? Is this your favorite one, Gordon?
Well, I love Little Shop of Horrors, but I've also directed a play in the past called Godspell a couple of times. And I also just was named director for next season's play, The Odd Couple, which is a classic play by Neil Simon. And it was a TV show for many years as well. So
you're too young.
Yeah,
you're too young.
Yeah, your parents would remember the TV show, but the play goes back to the late 1960s. A playwright named Neil Simon, who's one of the great comedic writers of our time. He started out in 1948 on the Sid Caesar show as one of the many writers who became famous later on.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, what was your role as a director?
What's the role of the director? Well, the director, if people know anything about orchestras or bands, there are people who play each individual instrument. Whether you play the trombone, I used to play the trombone, or the clarinet or the flute. Did you play in the band?
Yes.
What did you play?
Cymbals.
The cymbals, that's right. You were in the percussion. So, each individual who plays in the band, they have their own part that they have to learn. We love directing because it's like directing the band. We get to make sure that everybody is doing what they need to do to bring the whole show together.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, is Little Shop of Horrors a comedy?
We hope so.
It's a comedy drama, and it's about a guy and a girl who are working a flower shop.
Okay.
And the guy finds this really weird plant, kind of looks like a Venus flytrap, and it goes open and close, open and close. And he finds out that the only thing this plant likes to eat is blood. So it's kind of a horror show, but there's also a love story, and there's a lot of love songs and a lot of great chorus roles and chorus singing. So it's a little bit of both. It's a comedy and a drama.
Yeah, so it's got a little bit for everybody.
Okay.
If you like horror shows, we got that. If you like comedy, we got that. If you like kissing, there's some of that.
So, was that the plot of the show?
Yeah, the plot is basically like Gordy just said. This mysterious plant shows up, and it will only eat blood, and it will only eat human blood.
Sounds scary.
And it sounds scary. It's not as scary as it sounds.
Yeah.
It's based on an old movie. Okay. It's based on an old movie. The man who made the movie was called Roger Corman, and he made this movie, and somebody said, I got an idea, let's make it into a musical. And so they did. It's got great music, right?
Yeah. The music is written by a guy named Alan Menken, and the script is written by a guy named Howard Ashman. And a little story about these two is that they were doing off-Broadway plays, and they did 2 of them together, and they both flopped.
Wow.
And they came up with the idea of Little Shop of Horrors. And Alan Menken said that if this show flops, I'm never going to write a play again. I'm going to go and write TV commercials. And lo and behold, the show became an off-Broadway hit, and they just celebrated their 40th anniversary this last year, and that's kind of why we're doing it, to celebrate the anniversary of the show. But back in 2003, they lucked out, and they were able to take the show to Broadway.
Wow.
After many years. Howard Ashman has passed away. He passed away in 1991 from AIDS. So we're dedicating this performance to the memory of Howard Ashman.
Wow.
And Alan Menken did the musical directing for this last revival hit last year. The pandemic kind of stopped them for a while.
Yeah.
But the show goes on, and hopefully it'll go on and on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of other shows too. They've done a lot of other music. A lot of Disney shows are their music, and so when you hear it, you go, "Wow, that reminds me of another song that I've heard," and that's probably Ashman and Menken. So.
Well, I'm sorry about the passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his memory lives on with what we're doing with the shows, and so it's, we're everybody who is associated with the show, with Little Shop, they do a lot of things in his memory.
Wow. So tell me about the Bay City Players.
Bay City Players has been around. We are Michigan's oldest continuous community theater. We've been around for over 100 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and Gordy and I have been a part of the Bay City Players. We go back to 1979, 1980,
Wow.
when we started doing shows there. But it's a great organization. It's a community theater. There are people from Bay City, of course, but Saginaw, Midland. We've made many friends from the whole Great Lakes Bay area, people that have come and decided they wanted to be a part of theater. We're always looking for volunteers. It's a volunteer organization.
Okay.
So we're looking for people, if you want to be on stage, that's great. But there are so many other things to do in a show. Whether it's working on lights, working on sound, working on building props, building the set. There are a lot of different things for whatever people's strengths are. We've got a space for them.
Wow.
Bay City Players is about to celebrate their 106th season.
Yeah.
So also Bay City Players is the second oldest community theater in the country.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So where can we learn more about Little Shop of Horrors?
Little Shop of Horrors, if you go to the website, baycityplayers.org,
Okay.
you go there and there is a link to Little Shop of Horrors, and it will show you some pictures of some of the rehearsals that we've been having, and it's a place where you can also get tickets. Because it's a musical, tickets are $25.
Wow.
And the show is the last weekend in April and the first weekend in May. Friday, Saturday, and then a Sunday matinee. The show starts at 7:30. For the evening shows, the evening performances on Friday and Saturday. Sunday's performance is a 3 o'clock matinee, and that's for both of those weekends.
Wow.
And you can buy tickets right online.
Wow. So did you have a favorite scene?
Do we have a favorite scene? Do you have a favorite scene?
Well, I like the scene with the man-eating plant a lot, who sings and dances around. So I think any of the scenes that Audrey 2, the name of the plant is Audrey 2 because the male lead, Seymour, works with a girl named Audrey, and he kind of likes her a lot. So he decided to name the plant after Audrey and name the plant Audrey 2. So whenever Audrey 2 is going to be dancing around, those are going to be my favorite scenes.
Wow.
It's really big, and it takes up 1/3 of our set. So you can only imagine how big that is, and it dances around and it sings.
Wow.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining 321 Connection.
Thank you, Luke. Thanks for having us. I sure do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to have met you.
So this is 321 Connection with Corey Levine, Larry Jacobs, Little Shop of Horrors. The 321 Connection, Luke Drummer signing off. Welcome back to 321 Connection. This time, we'll be talking with Erin Patrice, talking about the Breaking Bread Village. So welcome, Erin.
Hey, Luke. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited.
So, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So, how did you come up with the idea of Breaking Bread Village?
Well, the Breaking Bread Village was started back in 2020, and it was during a combative year. You know, it was hard for everyone. The year 2020, we had, it was a presidency year. We had a pandemic. It was some social justice stuff going on. And it was also, it just was a hard year for people. And so it was a lot of fighting and arguing and people that were losing relationships during 2020. And it was hard for me to watch that. So instead of complaining about what was going on, I tried to do something to help. And so that's kind of where the Breaking Bread Village started from. I wanted to create a space for people to be able to have conversations with different viewpoints in a safe space. So.
Wow. So, how did it feel when the pandemic hit? Were you upset about that?
I don't know if I was necessarily upset. It was a little, nerve-wracking, right? Because I had never been through a pandemic.
Yes.
And it was just kind of like, oh, how long will we be in this house? Because I was used to like getting out and going around and kind of connecting with people in the physical, right? So it was hard to not be able to do that. So, and I was worried about like my mother. She was, she's a little older, and just people who live by themselves. And so it was more of just concern, not really fear, but yeah.
So, how does Breaking Bread Village create safe spaces for real conversations about changing topics?
So how do we create spaces? I try to, wherever it is, if it's at the, Dow Library Auditorium, or if it's outside somewhere at a coffee house, I just try to help people understand that it's okay for you to share in the space where I'm at, because I realize that people have different viewpoints, right? People think differently, and we have to be able to appreciate that and receive that in a constructive, respectful way. So that's kind of what I do. I just try to connect with the person to let them know that they're safe to share their viewpoint, and then we all just kind of come together and have a conversation. So.
Wow. So, when is the next event of the Breaking Bread Village?
Well, the next event will be tonight, actually. It'll be tonight. Yep, at 7 o'clock. And by the time this airs, it'll already pass. So by that time, we'll have another one in May. But tonight is our next one. And it will, we'll have a pre-show at 6:30. We'll have live music. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll have the conversation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how does the Breaking Bread Village work in your show?
So how does it work in the show? So the Breaking Bread Village is the show, right? I believe that, what we do is we have a table setting.
Okay.
And we try to set it like you would if you had like Sunday dinner or some type of big event. And we set the table that way. And, there's a whole science behind it, having the communal look of the table, having the music, having the atmosphere. I believe that it creates environment for people to feel comfortable, right, and to relax and feel like they're at home. I always tell people it's like I'm inviting you into my house, right? I'm saying come sit with me, come talk. When you invite people into your home, they're supposed to feel comfortable. They should feel safe. It's not all all the the fluff. We're just kind of coming as we are. So that's the kind of environment I try to create with the Breaking Bread Village.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will it be part of this show?
You should come. Yes, I would love for you to come and then maybe be on the panel one time. I would love that.
Yeah.
No, I would.
So, what is your favorite memories of Breaking Bread Village?
Oh, my favorite memories. Wow. It's a lot of memories I have, but what I will say is probably some of my favorite memories are what happens after. Right? So I kind of call it the after. And really what happens is it's really cool to see people who have differing views come together, who normally don't talk to each other or don't associate with each other. After the show, sometimes they've gone and had coffee or wanted to carry on the conversation, which I think is pretty impactful, right? That people that normally don't talk to each other would, after that time of like taking a pause, taking a breath, and actually listening to each other, they decide, hey, I want to know more about what you feel or about you, and they continue on the conversation. So that's probably some of the most memorable times, is that people decide that they want to continue the conversation. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So, what kind of workshops do you have in Breaking Bread Village?
So workshops, I don't do a lot of Breaking Bread Village workshops.
Okay.
I do a Heart of Leadership workshop course, which is, we use the same principles of creating space, being intentional, showing empathy and compassion. So I teach that with the Heart of Leadership, and I actually do that at Dow High. So I do that there with the kids there, and it's really been cool. This is our 3rd year doing this, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. I like helping the kids with understanding like what leadership is all about, and having a more of an in-depth connection with people when you lead, as opposed to just, being a dictator.
So, is a Breaking Bread Village a nonprofit organization?
We are a nonprofit. We became that, about a year ago,
Wow.
officially. So, yeah, we are a nonprofit. So I'm really excited about that, because it will allow us to do, more things. So, yeah.
Where can we learn more about the Breaking Bread Village?
So you can learn more by going to our website. It's TBBV, so the Breaking Bread Village. So it's tbbv.org. Or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So we're a few different places on social media, so people can find out where we are, and also to be able to know upcoming events. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining 321 Connection.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. And this is Aaron Matwese from Breaking Bread Village. And I am Luke Jeremiah, your host for 321 Connection. Thank you for watching 321 Connection. Hi, welcome to 321 Connection. I'm here with Nikki Reyes talking about the Humane Society.
Hi.
So welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, how did you get involved in the Humane Society?
When the Humane Society took over animal control, my family and I started volunteering, and then we started fostering. And that's been 11 years ago.
Wow.
And since that time, we've had about 600 or 700 animals through the house.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, what makes Midland Humane Society different?
The Humane Society is different because it's the only rescue here in the Midland County that has a shelter.
Okay.
Which means people of Midland County can bring their animals in. It's not a foster base. People can come in and see the animals instead of going to someone's house to see them.
Wow, that's really cool.
It is. Plus, the animals are walked more here 6 times a day. More than my dog gets walked at home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where do all the animals come from?
They come from all over. What we try to do is, if there's a shelter somewhere in Michigan, we've had them from Detroit, we've had them from different countries like Lebanon, China.
Okay.
If they need a placement and we have room, we'll get the animals here.
Wow.
Just recently we had a bunch of dogs come in from Louisiana, but we also pull from Clare. We pulled from Saginaw County not too long ago. So we try to keep it local, but we do reach out to other places.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's nice, because then the dogs get homes, cats get homes.
What are some biggest challenges for the Humane Society?
Biggest challenges. A lot of people don't know, but we don't get any state, federal, or local funding. So this facility is run by volunteers, donations, grants, people putting in hard work just to make sure that there's food, the animals are taken care of, and people don't realize every animal that comes in, if we think they're going to make it, even though they might have a broken leg or need to have an expensive surgery, we'll pay for that surgery to make sure that they live. We don't put a price tag on how much the animals are. As long as we know they're going to have a good quality of life, we're going to put money into them and make sure that they get good homes.
Wow, sounds like you're doing a good job of this.
It's a challenge. I have a lot of special needs animals at my house. Yeah.
So, what is the Humane Society focused on now?
Right now, we're focused on making sure that the animals come in. We've been looking for shelters that have animals that have been there for a really long time. And we have such a good social presence that we bring those long-term animals here and they get adopted within a couple of weeks.
Wow.
So that's our focus, is the shorter the time the animals are here to their new home, the better it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We love it. It's our shelter director. She
Yeah.
does an excellent job.
So what do volunteers do at the Humane Society?
There are so many different things that volunteers can do. They can walk dogs, they can clean cages, they can just play with puppies, they can play with cats, they can clean cages. We have people that just do laundry, that just wash dishes. We
Okay.
have people that come and they help at events. If we're going to be like at the Loons, they'll come and they'll hang out with us and visit with people. I mean, there's so many different things to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how can people adopt a pet?
So what they do is they reach out to our website, which is hsomc.org. There are a list of animals that are available, and they fill out an application. Or they can come into the shelter and meet the animals that we have, and if they like somebody, they can fill out an application here, and we can process the adoption
Wow.
the same day.
So, when was your first time being in this Humane Society? Did you like it?
Oh yeah, loved it. My kids grew up doing it. I mean, if we don't have animals in the house, it's naked. It never happens. So we used to do cats, and now we do more puppies and dogs and things like that. So we've had probably 15 litters of puppies delivered at the house.
Wow.
Yeah. It's scary, but it's fun.
So, what's your favorite kind of pet?
My favorite kind of pet is cats, just because they're easier and they're not as loud as the puppies at my house right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, thank you for
You're
being on Vision
welcome. Thank you
Connection.
for having us come out.
So, this is Nikki Race from the Humane Society. I'm with Jeremiah, Visual Connection, signing off.